Oh boy. You know what time it is. What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I just got back from the theater, which I don't do a lot. So when I do it, yeah, it better be good, right? I just got back from seeing Fantasy Island, or Blumhouse Fantasy Island. This is a 2020 horror film that was directed by Jeff Wadlow. That name sounded very familiar when I saw it on the title screen. When I looked it up, I saw that he's directed a couple other movies, but most recently, Truth or Dare! And I hated that piece of shit film, Truth or Dare, so I almost wanted to walk out and say F you to this movie just off of that. But I stayed. I stayed because I gave myself 2 times a year when I can walk out of a theater, and I've already done that once, and it's only February, so I have to save it for something even worse. This film, we meet this group of people who arrive on this island. It's sort of a tropical resort where your fantasies can come true, and when you get there, you meet Michael Pena as Mr. Rourke, who he runs the island. He facilitates all of these fantasies. And some fantasies do seem larger than life. They seem almost out of this world. Maybe a little, some magical, mystical elements to it, supernatural. But there's always a twist. There's always a dark turn to each fantasy. It's not as always what it is to be seen. And our characters, once they realize that there's something nefarious going on, they have to try to survive. Now, what I thought of this film is, I didn't hate the movie. That might sound surprising. Maybe you're expecting a true super ultra mega rant. I didn't hate the movie. I didn't like it really at all, but I didn't hate it. I liked the idea. I liked the premise. Now, Fantasy Island was a TV series back in like the 70s, I believe, and it followed this similar premise. And so me liking the premise of this movie, me saying that the ideas or the premise was interesting, does not mean that it's really a positive point towards this film, because, well, it's a reboot, it's a remake, essentially. You're taking all of the originality out of this because it just took this idea from something else. So that's actually really a slight against this movie. But okay, fine. Let's pretend like I don't know anything about the original. The idea is interesting. The idea of these characters coming to this island and being granted fantasies and sort of putting yourself in that position where, well, if it was me, what would I want? And then when you see things go in their twist and turn dark route, you say, okay, fine, it is a horror movie supposed to be, so I guess that checks out. But I had some issues with the core elements of this movie. First things first, some of the actors. Maggie Q, I like her. I do. I feel like she should have been in a lot better things throughout her career. This isn't one of them. Her character does have somewhat of an interesting arc where she didn't get married to the guy that she wanted. She didn't have a child like she wanted to, so then this island gives that to her. Look, that element made sense for her, I guess, and they gave her character a little something extra when she wants to sort of step up and fix something from her past. So I appreciated that about her, I guess. She's a good enough actress to pull it off. Lucy Hale, who was the main character in Truth or Dare, so I don't want to crap on her as a person or as an actress, because I'm sure she's fine in both parts, but her character, I have issues with, and I can't get into because it's spoiler reasons, but her whole deal, her fantasy is that this girl bullied her when she was in school, and so she wants to get revenge on her, and that causes that girl, played by Portia Doubleday, that causes her to be put on the island as well. And you know what? That dynamic between the two of them, I actually enjoyed. I say that because I wrote a horror script a few years ago where I had a similar dynamic where one person, one girl was Starts out very unlikable. Starts off having done really messed up things, so you're supposed to not like her. And then your main girl, the two of them in their situations have to work together and have to sort of grow together, become friends, and forgive each other. They played on those elements here, so I appreciated that. But then it takes a turn to where I go, all right, this movie is falling apart for me again. It's hard to talk about without spoilers, and I won't do a spoiler review because this movie does not deserve it. Other actors, you have Jimmy O. Yang and Ryan Hansen. They play brothers, even though Jimmy is Asian, but they explain that through marriage, blah, blah, blah. Ryan Hansen, I remember first seeing in Veronica Mars, and he's been in a few things, the Friday the 13th remake. However old he is now, every time I see him, he still plays that frat, college type dude, a little douchey. Like, he's fine, but I'd like to see him do something else besides that. But okay, Michael Pena, I don't buy as Mr. Rourke. I like Michael Pena in general. I've seen him obviously in movies where he's funny and likable, but there's been movies where I see him and he's either annoying as hell, like Dora the Explorer, or in this movie where I just don't buy it. I don't. He's acting like Ricardo Montalban from the original, and there's no comparison. No one's buying Michael Pena as that character, especially the way that Ricardo did it. And it's just, it's hard. It's hard to believe him. Yes, he has his own backstory. Yes, he has his own connection with the island, but I just couldn't care less about any of it. Something about his delivery. He seemed disinterested about being here as well. And Michael Rooker, yes, Merle from The Walking Dead, or Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, or from Mallrats, whatever movie you know him from, you see him here and you think, why in the blue hell is he in this movie? What made him say yes to this? Maybe it was the free trip to wherever they shot this film and he was able to spend a couple days shooting this, because it's so bizarre to see him in this movie, to see him in this role. This movie could have been worse? Yes, absolutely. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. I could have been angry as hell. There's a part of me that is a little annoyed that I did go to the theater and that I did waste my time in that way. But I liked certain aspects to this. I liked certain ideas. I liked certain actors in it. Obviously, if it was in better hands, it could have been so much better. It should have been so much better. This is an interesting concept, an interesting idea, and even doing it as a horror anthology should have been something that we could go along with. But especially the very last scene, the very last shot of this film almost made me say, wow, guys, F off with whatever you're trying to do. It's so cheap. It's very cheap. A lot of this movie feels cheap. And I'm not just talking about the budget. I'm going to give this a some old bullshit.
Man, this some old bullshit.
You're lucky, movie, because there was parts of it that I wanted to give it a Netflix and chill, and then there was other parts of it that I wanted to say F you. So I'm giving you a pass and saying you're just bullshit. You're welcome. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you want to see Fantasy Island, if you liked the original series, so maybe you're curious, or if you have seen this movie, did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!